Hello and welcome back. So we're now going to be putting slope and intercept together to make slope-intercept. And now slope-intercept form is this cool little equation we have right here. Y equals mx plus b, where m is our slope, which translates to rise over run. And we can actually write that prettier so it looks like what it is, rise over run. And then B is going to be the y-intercept, or where it intercepts the y-axis. And we'll talk about that a little bit more specifically whenever we get to graphing. But for right now, we just want to recognize. So first thing I always look for, and the easiest thing to look for, is the B part of this. So the B, or the y-intercept, for this first equation is right here as plus 4. Now, if it's a positive number, you don't necessarily have to write the plus. You just need to know that it's a positive number. And then we're going to look at the slope. And the slope is going to be whatever is touching this x, whatever is implied multiplication for this x. In this case, it is negative 8 over 3. So I would actually go down 8 and over 3 from every point on that line. Fair enough. If it seems too simple, it's because, well, it is. So let's take another look. Our y-intercept, we always want to go with the y-intercept first. And we're going to pull in the symbol in front. And that's important because in this case, we are subtracting a 1. So that means our y-intercept is negative 1. Okay, so my y-intercept, that's easy enough. Now I'm going to find my slope. My slope is going to be negative 5 halves. Easy peasy. Negative 5 over 2. And it's really that simple. You are just looking for what parts actually match up with the equation. Number 3 is pretty much the same. Number 4, I do want to spend a minute to talk about. So let's look at the intercept. The intercept is really simple. Right there, plus 2. So the y-intercept, where it intercepts the y-axis, is going to be at the point 2. Now my slope is 3. But I need this in rise over run if I'm going to put it on a graph. So I need to be able to understand that this is 3 divided by, what can I divide 3 by and still get 3? 1. 3 divided by 1 is 3. So if I really needed rise over run, I can just look at that, and I know that I have 3 over 1. Now, as you're going through those, for the most part, they're pretty easy, and you've probably got most of it worked out if I counted to 30. But let's stop and take a look. There are sometimes problems that we get that just present something new to us that we have to think about. So let's look at y equals negative x plus 4. Do the easy part right off the bat. The y-intercept, we know that is positive 4. But now when I look at the slope, there's not really a number touching the x. Well, there's not a number I can see touching the x. So what I want to do is I want to ask you a question. I'm going to propose for you. X times some number equals x. What can I multiply x by that equals x? Well, that's 1. I can multiply x times 1 and it equals x. So then x times what number equals negative x? Well, that's just negative 1. If I multiply x times a negative 1, I get negative x. So this negative x is actually implying a negative 1. So my slope in this case would be negative 1 over 1. And that's how you get that. Remember, any whole number can be a fraction by dividing by 1. And if you have just the negative sign hanging out, it's multiplying by a -1. And if you have no sign out there, you had just an x, that is also being multiplied by a -1. Now let's look at a couple where we take this all the way through and actually plot the graph. So just like we were doing before, we are going to find the y-intercept. So in this case, that is +1. Now I'm going to pause here because I want to talk about it. I said earlier the y-intercept is where it intercepts the y-axis. And the y-axis is this little doodad here. It is the y line from top of the graph to the bottom of the graph where x equals 0. All right? So the y-intercept occurs at +1. That means the line occurs at x equals 0, y1. That is a point on this line. I know for a fact that's a point on the line. Now I need to find my slope. Just like we did before, it's right next to that x, -4/3. Now, what does this tell me? The -4 tells me I'm going down. And the 3, well, positive numbers go to the right on the x, tells me I'm going to the right. So rise over run. I'm going down 4. So I'm going to start from my y-intercept. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm going to go right 3. 1, 2, 3. I now have 2 points on my graph. Because I have 2 points on my graph, I can make a definite line. I just connect those 2 points like that. And I'm going to drag my line down a little bit so it covers the entire graph, but it still connects those 2 points, and it goes down 4/3. So it has that slope, and it intercepts the line at 1. Congratulations. You can now graph a line without a calculator just by using slope-intercept form. It's pretty easy. Let's look at another one. So number 2, I have in the first step is always going to be find my y-intercept +2. Because I know it intercepts the y-axis at +2, I can go on ahead and drop that point in there. +2. Well, now I need to worry about this slope. -2. Now again, I need it to have rise over run. -2 divided by what equals -2? Divided by 1. So that means I've got a rise of -2. I'm going to go down 2. For every 1 I run, and I'm going to run to the right. So I go down 2, 1, 2, run, 1 to the right. Now I have a lot of room, so I can keep going. Down 2, 1, run to the right. Down 2, 1, 2, 1 to the right. And look, don't those look like they're kind of in a straight line? Matter of fact, we can prove they're in a very straight line by doing that. I've now drawn my line. And it does. It goes on forever and ever on both sides. I could put huge numbers or extremely small numbers in there and it'll work. But I start with the intercept and then I figure out my slope. Once I figure out my slope, I'm adjusting that from the intercept. Now, 3 is pretty straightforward. You've got your y-intercept at -1, so you plot your -1, and then you're going to go down 4/3. So you should be able to figure that one out and draw your line. That one's pretty easy. 4, I want to take a look at. So first step, again, find our intercept. It intercepts the y-axis at +5. Now I want to do my slope, 7/3. So that means I'm going to have a rise. I'm going to go up 7 for every 3 I go over. So 7/3, up 7/3. Pause it, try it. Did you see what's going to happen? I can't go up. I'm out of graph. So from the yellow dot, I got to go up, but that puts me up here, And I really don't, I might be able to get 1 or 2, but after that, I really don't know what 7 looks like. So I've got to figure something out. What do you think I can do? I can go down. I have all of this graph space down here. Okay, so if I change it to a -7, so if I multiply the top by -1, I get -7. So that means anything I do to the top, I have to, that's right, I have to do it to the bottom. So -1 times 3 is -3. So -7 divided by -3 should be 7/3. Well, a negative divided by a negative is positive, so that makes sense. So let's try this. So negative means I'm going down, and negative on the graph, well, all those negatives are over there on the left, so I need to go left instead of right this time. Let's try it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now I need to go left 3 because I'm going negative. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now I can draw that line. We'll go on ahead and we'll draw it. And we'll move it so that it looks more like it actually covers everything. Boom. Now, I want to just double check. 7/3. If I go up and to the right from this second point, if it's the same, I want to know if these are really equivalent. I want to test it. Up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Over to the right 3. 1, 2, and 3. And I wound up at the same spot again. So this is an equivalent fraction, an equivalent ratio. They are proportionate. And that's exactly what being a linear equation is. It's proportional. It is ratios. It's a whole bunch of fun math that we've been building up to, and it gives you the visualization of it. So congratulations. I just did 7 problems out of your homework. Actually, I think I did 8 because I did 9 as well on the other side. Anyway, hopefully this helps. Y equals Mx+B. Don't overthink it. The B is the Y-intercept. That's where it intercepts the x-axis. M is our slope. It's rise over run. Once you find your intercept, just figure out how far do I go up or down from there. Get you a point. Draw you a straight line. Call it done. And by the way, you're now smarter than an 8th grader. Ask an 8th grader to do this without a calculator. Watch their brains smoke. And then pull out a graphing paper and show them you can do it without the calculator. It'll be funny. I'll enjoy it. And 8th graders, if you're watching this now, don't forget to leave a comment. Let me know that I made you smarter. Then like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. And yeah, I'll see you in class tomorrow.